I've heard so many quotes telling people to dream big, and I'm sure you've heard something like that countless times too. And as far as I can remember, there were quotes that went something like, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough, or you have to shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll still land among the stars. And when I heard these quotes as a young kid, growing up in the early internet era, early YouTube era, it was like a moment of epiphany all the time. Every single time I heard these quotes, it was like a fire that ignited inside my heart and a burst of inspiration that motivated me to conquer the world or something like that. But as you all know, this momentary bliss is only lasting for a couple of maybe hour, right? More just 30 minutes. Because it only lasts until your dopamine level goes back down to its original state, right? And what happens is you don't actually start changing your life or making real progress. What you do is you start fantasizing more and more about your future life. And you get better at it too. You get better at dreaming bigger and dreaming larger over time. And the thing is, these dreams you've developed become antithetical to what you have intended in the first place, right? And I know this very well because I've been through this multiple times. And in my early 20s, when I was in college, I was one of those dudes who was skinny fat, the ones who have skinny arms and legs and have a chubby torso, right? I was kind of like that, and I wanted to transform my body. So what did I do? I went on YouTube, just like any other 20-year-old college kids, and started learning about muscle building and diet plans. And during those times, that was probably around 2010 or 11 or so, which was like the golden era of fitness on YouTube. And the thing is, most fitness YouTube channel back then were totally, the YouTubers that were creating content back then, they were totally locked in, they were ripped. And the entire style and their lifestyle was focused around muscle building and diet plans, which was, it wasn't really viable for a regular average college student to adopt, right? And because my dreams and desires were way bigger than my muscles and willpower, I kept slipping up on my routine, because the more I fantasized about becoming a buffer, a bigger dude, the less I put the actual amount of work in. And since it didn't reach my expectation every single day, that kind of demotivated me from continuing on, right? And slowly and gradually, this eventually led to a stop. So I stopped working out, because what's the point of doing it if I cannot become, one of those dudes that I see on YouTube? So I had to change my plan, right? So what I did was I let go of this ego, and I admitted that I sucked. And I let go of the desire to become a guy with this Wolverine type physique, right? So what I did instead was, just simple body weight workouts every day for just 15 minutes. I made a promise to myself that I would never skip a workout, even if it's only for 10 to 15 minutes a day. And that continued on until today, which is what I'm still doing now. I'm still doing these 15-minute workouts every single day. And maybe this, maybe to some people, that sounds like cope, and setting a higher goal motivates them to be consistent. But for me, a lower, smaller goal motivates me much more effectively, I found out. Because most of the time, consistency comes from having no thoughts at all, right? Having no dreams at all. Just like how habits don't require thinking. Does that make sense? If something becomes a habit, you don't have to dream about doing something. It just becomes a part of your life. And you cannot even fathom not doing it anymore because it became a part of you already. So you're no longer working towards a higher goal anymore. it just becomes a routine. You can't even call it a routine because it's just you now, right? How can you not do it? It's like brushing your teeth every single day, right? So, a professional athlete trains every single day because it is his job, not because he wants to be the best in the world. Maybe he does, but most athletes just do it anyway because they're just accustomed to it. And same thing goes for a man who knows how to attract a lot of people, right? He doesn't really seek relationships or friends. He rather focuses on his day-to-day tasks and, whatever he's working on, which makes him so appealing in the first place to others. And, we can derive a lot of different ideas from this kind of attitude. Sometimes you have to be a little bit detached in order to become the thing that you want to be. So it sounds counterintuitive, but there's some kind of lesson to be learned there, right? And at any point in life, you have to realize this. It's important to realize that the long-term consistency always trumps short-term intensity. And this is what Bruce Lee said, right? And long-term consistency doesn't always come from big dreams or having a big, huge ego to conquer the world. It often comes from accepting that you're just an average person. You're just an average guy trying to check off the items on your list. And you do this every single day, right? So I guess this is what I learned. So in the end, the people who improve aren't the ones who dream big. They're the ones who start small, but don't stop. So big dreams, they don't help with your progress. They sometimes ruin your progress. So maybe try keeping a balance between the two.